All things real estate is up now, and this is the first one for the month of February. Today, we are focusing on the relicensing and payment options. All salesmen and dealers are required to renew their licenses annually. Licensing year runs from April 1 to March 31. Annual license fees may be paid in full or in installments of two. This morning, the supervisor in charge of customer service at the real estate board, Jermaine Simms, is my guest here in studio. Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning.
I mean, over time, I'm sure people say Jeremy and Sims, Jeremy and King.
Well, sometimes our general person will just go by my last name.
Sims.
Right.
All right then. All right, we'll work with Jeremy and Sims this morning. All right, good. All right, so where relicensing and the and related activities are concerned, who should be relicensed and by when?
All right. So the individuals that should be relicensed are the real estate dealers and salesmen, and the renewal of for developers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So those three categories.
Right. And what is it that they need to take note of when proceeding to relicense?
Right. So generally, for the dealers and the salesmen, they are required to fulfill at least three basic requirements.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is to, of course, you have to pay the applicable fees.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to pay, well, not pay, but the applicable fees. Then there are the applicable CPD courses which you are required to do.
What CPD mean?
All right, that's continuous professional development courses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you have, for salesmen, they have to complete a new letter of employment. One has to be submitted indicating the dealer that they'll be working with for the renewal period.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the developers, they simply have to, as long as your development is ongoing and there's no change in the previous arrangement, then they'll continue to pay the same fee as the previous year.
So this updating of documentation is to ensure that nobody is in the trade who really is not active but just wants to be in the trade for being in the trade sake.
Right.
Yeah. All right. The penalty period. We understand that there is a penalty period. Explain this penalty period.
Okay. All right. So for the all penalty becomes effective May 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So which is why the renewal period begins April 1st,
Mm-hmm.
and persons have until April 30 to pay the necessary fees without incurring any penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Once that time has passed, for developers, the penalty is 100% of their renewal fees.
Ooh.
So, and of course, there's the developers' fees vary based on their development, the number of developments that they're doing.
Right.
However, for the salesmen and dealers, their penalty is 50%
Mm-hmm.
of the fees.
Can I continue working even if I'm in the penalty period? My license is up.
Once your license has expired, if it is that there were arrangements that you would have initiated prior to the expiration of your license, then of course you'd be able to finish those, but you would not. It would not be lawfully advisable to start any further transactions prior to the renewal of your license.
Mm-hmm. And have you found over time that you have strong compliance? Are people getting and staying up to date, or are people working with expired licenses?
Well, over time we have gotten strong compliance. Persons are now cognizant, and especially where the public is concerned, now persons are now more cognizant of, checking our website to see whether or not persons are licensed. They call the offices to verify the status of these individuals. So persons are aware, and so because of this, then you have realtors who are also mindful of that, and so they are mindful to complete their renewals.
Just as a question, when a property is advertised for sale or for rent and you see a realtor's information on it, is there a standard requirement for there to be a number for the realtor that you can check to see if this person is authorized to be able to do this kind of transaction?
Yes. So their license number would be listed, and on our website there's a register that you can check. Pretty straightforward. Once you go to the website, you see search register. So once you see a property that is advertised, you'll see the realtor information. You can check it on our website. You can give us a call for the information. Of course, for the salesmen specifically, they also have to list the dealer that they're attached to. So they're not allowed to work independently. So you'll be able to check the status of that salesman as well as the status of the dealer that they are working with.
Yeah, and so you're saying that once the realtor's information is on the, what do you call it, on the sign,
Right.
let's call it the sign then,
Right.
then it's standard for the realtor's number to be there as well.
Yes.
And visible. All right. Well, I think you've answered the question of having to wait until the April 1 date to relicense, because you've effectively given people a month to come into compliance after the license would have expired.
Yes, and of course they don't necessarily have to wait until that time.
Come on.
You know, we're always open and accepting, because the sooner you get your affairs in order, then as April 1st hits, then you'll be up and running.
Yeah, but let me ask you, Jermaine, why is it that the license renewal is an annual thing? Why not do a 2-year license or a 3-year agreement? What's the reason for to make it annual?
All right, well, based on the Act, the Real
Yeah.
Estate Dealers and Developers Act,
Yes.
that is the stipulated time period.
Well, all right. That's simple. The law says so. Let's work with the law. All right. And my payment options, of course. So I'm in the trade, and but this is my first year, so I get the license one time, and I set it up, and I pay and everything. The payment options are straightforward. How do I settle my accounts then?
All right, so paying for the license is pretty simple. We now have our own in-house online payment facility, our client portal. So persons are able to, because you'd have had your license number. So once you visit our website, head to the client portal, then you'll be able to create your account. So once you create your account, you will be able to use that to pay your license fees, any applicable penalty. If it is that you have outstanding CPD courses, you are also able to register for those courses through the portal as well. For persons who want to use alternative methods, then we have bill payment facilities set up through NCB and Scotiabank. So once you have your license number, you simply set up there and register and make your payment. There are also in-office payments for those who may not be so comfortable with the online facilities.
Yeah.
They can come in office to do that. And one of the good things about our in-house online payment, the client portal, is that the payment is reflected immediately. So whereas you may use third-party payment methods, it take a few days to reflect, a day or two. Our client portal, the payment is reflected immediately, and so we are able to process your license. Once the other requirements are met, we're able to process them quicker.
And what if somebody is starting a transaction with me as a potential buyer or renter, and I've checked their registration number and find that they're operating on an expired license? What do you advise me to do?
Well, you can call the real estate board. We have inspectors on hand who would be able to advise you as to the necessary steps to take in order to navigate those tricky situations.
Very well. All right. So the trade I'm imagining has gotten so much bigger over time. I have a few friends now who tell me that, I mean, a real estate now, and, a lot of people are coming in. So you say compliance is high? Is it decent? Is it average? What would you rate compliance as in terms of the licensing requirements and having up-to-date licenses?
Well, the compliance is excellent. Over time, we have worked. We have the inspectors. We have our customer service team, which has been expanded to, to facilitate all of that, the queries and the questions, and we, put in the work to ensure that persons, their licenses are done within the stipulated time period as quick as possible, so that persons can be compliant. As well as, we have the inspectors that go out and do regular inspections. And so, sensitizations like these also help the public to be aware and also to keep realtors on the tip of their toes.
Absolutely so. And you said you could pay the license fee in 2 installments, right?
Correct.
But so if I pay a half, so if I pay 1 installment, do I have the same rights as somebody who's fully paid up?
Yes. So the installment payment option is that you can pay half of the license fee. That's specifically for dealers and salesmen.
Yes.
Developers, there's no installment. So it's
one thing, one time.
Right, one thing up front. So where it comes to the same benefits, it's the same. The only difference is that your license expire September 30, as opposed to someone who would have paid for the entire year. But once you pay the fee, you're entitled to the full benefits of what the law allows.
Excellent. Well, information to live by for dealers, salesmen, and everybody involved. Is there anything you want to add before we break?
Yes. So, as one final thing is that a notification would have been sent out specifically to dealers. There's a AML risk assessment survey that is mandatory.
What's AML?
Anti-money laundering. So there's
Okay.
anti-money laundering risk assessment survey that is mandatory for all dealers to complete, and they have until next week Friday to complete that. So if it is that they didn't see the notice in their email, they could check their junk, or they could simply visit our website where is it? It is advertised. They'll simply click on the link and complete the survey.
And those who don't complete it, Jermaine?
Well, there are ramifications. Of course, another notice will be sent out shortly
Yes.
to advise them of the importance of the survey.
You hear anti-money laundering
Anti-money laundering risk assessment
risk
survey.
assessment, because they don't want to wash money people in the business. Yeah, so everybody has to be legitimate and on the up and up. And if you don't get the email, call the real estate board.
That is correct.
Simple as that, straightforward. All right, Jermaine, thank you for your time this morning and all the best.
You too.
Jermaine Simms, the man in charge of, well, he's a supervisor in the customer service department at the real estate board, talking about relicensing and the payment options and the very important need to be up to date. And that AML risk assessment is also very important, as they want to ensure that only honest people, people of integrity, are in the trade, and not those who make their money illicitly, who are looking to clean up the money by entering into real estate. They're trying to keep those people out, so it's important that you do this risk assessment. All right? Back with more after these.